The Minot Area Community Foundation is dedicated to giving back to the community.
Sarah sits down to learn more.
Good morning. I am in Minot with Jason Zimmerman. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me a little bit about the Minot Area Community Foundation.
So at the foundation, primarily what we do is we work with private donors to set up endowments. And what those endowments essentially do, they become a permanent piece of our donors giving back to the community and surrounding areas. So we work with individuals, we work with tax planning individuals, we work with attorneys to establish these endowments. And like I said, every year they give money back to the nonprofit community in Minot and surrounding areas to improve the quality of life.
Awesome. And so there's a few, I feel like, big ticket places, right, that have gotten funds, like the Discovery Center.
So yeah, actually the Magic City Discovery Center, it's a pretty unique story in that that whole concept came out of one of our smaller giving circles. And so a member of that giving circle had seen Discovery Centers. This is back actually prior to the flood. And thought, you know, what a great idea. Why don't we have one of these in Minot? And so this giving circle started exploring it. They did some of the initial fundraising. And as the Discovery Center developed into maybe a little bit of a smaller concept into this incredible asset that we have now in North Hill, not only did the Giving Circle provide funding, but it was the single largest grant in foundation history for $750,000 for the Magic Climber. I like to share along with that as well is that we've had a number of other donors either through their endowments or through private giving through our organization. We're about $1.3 million into that project. Combined through our foundations. So. And
then you've got a few others that you wanted to mention.
So yes, you know, we have a substantial humanitarian endowment. A gentleman by the name of Arnold I. Besrud left us a substantial gift when he passed away. And one of his fields of interest was in humanitarians. And Mr. Besrud's a very interesting story. He never married. He worked his career with the Army Corps of Engineers building military bases across the world and settled here in Minot. He had some local ties. And he was from that generation that did not have a whole lot. And he utilized the local soup kitchens and food pantries for his daily meals and for supplies. And they essentially became his family. And so when he passed, he left us a substantial gift, and we used that primarily to support the local soup kitchens and food pantries, and we do that on an annual basis. And recently, in the last year, we provided $100,000 to the Lord's Cupboard for the relocation project to the Broadway Circle. Just that endowment alone in the last 11 years has provided about $1.5 million back into the Minot and surrounding areas.
Well, I mean, it just reaches so far. You know, like that's a really cool story.
So yeah, it really is.
If somebody has questions or just isn't really sure what to do, maybe with some funds, can they just reach out to you, or how does that process look?
Absolutely, they can reach out to us. You know, a lot of times they might want to, after maybe an initial visit, we can provide them with some ideas on what they might be able to do with some assets. Obviously, we'd want them to consult their tax advisor because there might be some implications there. I think it's a little bit of a misnomer in the nonprofit and in particular the foundation world. You don't have to be a millionaire to establish an endowment. Quite frankly, less than 5% of our endowments have over $1 million in assets, and we have about 145 endowment funds in our building. So
it's not just for the very rich.
That's exactly right. And you know, I mean, I think it's very important for people to realize that they can you can literally establish an endowment with any dollar amount. There are some minimum requirements before we start providing distributions back out, but there's also some incredible tax benefits as well. North Dakota still allows for a 40% income tax credit on charitable giving. The caveat being is that it has to be a minimum of $5,000 into a qualifying endowment in a tax year. And so, you know, we manage and hold 39 different agency accounts. And so, you know, we work obviously with all the nonprofits in the Minot community. 39 of those nonprofits have endowments with us to help with their perpetuity, help them in perpetuity and for their sustainability into the future. And so, you know, when we see the ups and downs in the market, sometimes it impacts charitable giving.
Yep.
In various things, inflationary pressures, whatever it may be, having that endowment provides them some financial sustainability to weather those storms. So,
Well, Jason, it has been a pleasure. I've learned so much today.
well, thank you very much. You know, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that probably the most important thing about what we do is our donors. And we're so very fortunate to have their trust and have the opportunity to represent them in giving back to Minot and surrounding communities with their charitable gifts.
Well, it really is the season of giving.
It is. And with tax planning coming up, there might be some year-end things that people want to take care of. So.
Right. Well, perfect. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Back to you in the Bismarck studio.
All right, thank you, Sarah. And for more information, you can go to centerforcommunitygiving.com.